Hey guys, just getting on here to answer your questions. By the way, if you guys watch this after the live, what you can do if you have a question yourself, go ahead and put it in the comments and I can answer it in the next video. So yeah, we're going to be talking about dating and getting you to attract that perfect person for you, getting the results that you want in your life. So we're going to be going deep into that. Also, real quick before we get started, I wanted to share any of you that are interested in learning more about one-on-one coaching. I've had a lot of several successes. Two more people got amazing relationships this week, which is exciting. And I want to help you guys do the same as well. And so right now I have a new deal. If you get 3 months of coaching, I believe in this so much, and I'm completely sure that we can get you the results that you want. That if you get 3 months of coaching, I will coach you until you get the results that you desire. I'll coach you till you get there. But you have to do the work. You have to keep applying yourself. You have to keep going for it. Okay, that's the deal. So anyway, I just want to share that with you guys. Feel free at any point to ask questions if you guys have any questions. We had a few questions before this got started, so I can go ahead and get in some of those. So the first question is, what are the do's and don'ts of first date? You're on first date. What are the do's and what are the don'ts? For me, I have a little bit of a tip. This is just sort of a personal preference, but I think it's good to take it a little bit easier on the first date, right? You want your first date to be fun, but you don't want it to be, you don't need it to be outrageous. Now, of course, you get to pick what you want your first date to be like. For me, personally, I like what most people would call boring first dates. I like what most people would call boring first dates. Going to get tea, going to get coffee, going to the park, going to play some sort of game, shooting some pool, something like that. Something that's not too exciting by itself. And instead, you want to make the excitement about your personal interaction. You want to make sure that it's good and it's fun just doing nothing, right? Because most of your relationship is going to be made up of you in regular, mundane places. And if that's fun, if that feels good, if that feels natural, then I think it's much better. Also, you're not going to be breaking the bank, which is good as well. So I think that's definitely a tip. Another thing too, don't be afraid of silences. A lot of people really worry that they have to keep the momentum of the conversation going. They have to keep it flowing. They have to, make sure to be on at all times, always have another question to ask or whatever. They're worried about these awkward silences. But you know what? Confident people, when you feel your own confidence, you're not really worried, one, about what the other person is thinking so much. And two, sometimes you just like to have a second to just think about stuff or whatever. And also it gives them an opportunity to think about what they want to ask you. I would not worry about silences so much. Just let it flow. Also, I noticed, especially on first dates, right? We get a little bit, here's a tip for you guys. So what you want to do. A lot of people before first dates start getting nervous, right? Have you ever had that nervousness feeling like on that first date? Right? You're about to show up, that person's about to be there. You feel that feeling come up in you, right? You're like, oh God. At that moment, you have a choice, right? You can push forward and turn that energy into excitement, or you can withdraw and it becomes anxiety, right? So you have that moment and you can choose, okay? When I get that moment, a little bit of that nervousness starts coming up, this is the perspective I have, and it's helped me a lot. I'm like, yes, I feel alive. I feel excited, right? This is what life is about, living right here. Oh, right? You get that feeling, get that movement forward. That's what you want to take. You want to take that and you're going to turn that to excitement. You're going to turn that to a little exhilaration. You're going to let it put a little pep in your step, right? That's what you want to do. You want to take that feeling and you want to make it feel electric, make it feel alive. Because not only that, it's going to make you more present. It's going to make the date more fun for you, right? You're going to do something new and different. You're creating some variety in your life, right? It's always a good thing, a little adventure. You don't know what's going to happen, right? So that's what you want to do. Another tip, let's see, first dates. We definitely want, for the do on first dates, before you go on a date, I think it's important and I think it's good to feel as good as you can, feel as good as possible before you go on that date. You want to be in a good state. You want to be in a good positive state. And you don't want to be too attached to the outcome, right? Don't make this date, make it just about beautiful moments, not about any outcomes. You're there just to have the experience. That's what you want to do. You want to go and you want to have the best experience you can on that first date. All right, I don't want to slow this down too much, so we'll move to the next question. First dates is something I can talk about for a long time. All right, so how to build self-worth. It's a really great question. How to build self-worth, something I talk about a lot and something that's really important, how to build that self-worth up. I mean, I think it's vital. In my webinar, The 2 Pillars of Romance, the 2 pillars are positivity and self-worth. And I think they will solve 95% of your relationship problems. They will solve your attraction problems. They will solve your day-to-day issues. It'll keep people from leaving you. People will want to stay much longer, and people will be more dedicated to you. It's so important. So yeah, definitely check out the webinar if you want to learn more about how to do that. But I'll give a little quick idea. So self-worth really is about your self-concept, the way you think about yourself, right? Your concept of yourself actually dictates every area of your life. And as you walk around and you see people, and when you go on dates and so forth, when you notice people, you can tell, okay, this is a person that I should respect, right? This is a person, or this is a person I can't trust. We put people into these categories because we can kind of feel their concept of themselves on a subconscious level. We do this all the time with every person. And isn't it interesting how radically different we treat different people, or our perspective of our different people is, right? How different that is. And it's totally based on their concept of themselves and through the lens that we see through as well. It's both. But yeah, there are those people, and you can just feel this is a good-hearted person, right? We can just feel that. That's part of their concept of themselves. They don't deviate outside of what they think is good, and you can feel that. You can feel that. And so we need to change our concept, our image, our self-image, and that's really where our self-worth comes from. And this is what happens when you don't have the self-worth. It's really interesting to see up close. It's fascinating. Actually, I was watching an episode of Modern Family, and the mom, Sophia, she really wanted to meet this Latin soap opera star. And she thought they were going to be friends. And the soap opera star was coming to town. She said, "Oh, I'm going to go talk to her, and she's going to want to have dinner with me tonight, and and all this stuff." And then she went up to go talk to her, and she's like, and you guys ever have that experience? You go try to talk to someone, and just like nothing comes out. Your level of self-worth doesn't match your concept of them. And so we're not, our brain does not allow ourselves to be cool, doesn't allow ourselves to be as charming, as interesting as we normally are, right? But somebody that we know likes us a lot, that we don't really care about, that our perception of their self-worth is much more than we can handle, we're on fire with that person. We're on fire, no problem. We don't have to think about it, right? Why? What's the difference? What's the difference? Our own self-worth, right? We don't allow ourselves to go beyond our own concept of ourselves. We don't allow ourselves to date better than we think we're worth. That's why people stay in relationships that are abusive or that are negative to them, because they don't feel they're worth more than that. Maybe that's something they grew up with or whatever, but they're constant in themselves. You know, you could talk to them till they're blue in the face trying to talk them out of being in it, but they just keep going back to it and keep attracting guys that are like that. Why? What's going on? Because they cannot participate in something that is beyond that. And those people will also draw that same circumstance out of people who normally are nice to everyone. They can, right? But normally they're not going to. But that's the point. The power of this is so much. You can draw someone being a total asshole out of someone who's usually a saint and wants to be a saint. You can draw that out of them. But the opposite is also true. You can draw a really positive experience out of someone who's usually a total asshole, right? And it's all based on how we feel we're worth. So how do we change this self-worth? How do we change this concept of ourselves? How do we change this concept of ourselves? It's so important. So we change this concept of ourselves by, there's a couple ways to do it. One, we just have to start thinking about ourselves differently, right? We have to change the way we're talking to ourselves. We have to be gentler with ourselves, nicer to ourselves. But also we have to, that's why something like visualization is so important. That's why you see it in so many places, because visualization is a tool in which to increase your self-worth, because you are changing your concept of yourself. When you see yourself with something in your mind and you spend time there, when you see yourself with that, spending time there in your mind, right? It's like you already have it. It's like you're conditioning yourself for having it. You're becoming a match to it. It's becoming second nature to you, right? You start seeing yourself with it. You feel like you already have it, and you spend time there, and you get it deep down in your body and your soul, everything. You feel like you already have it. You'll have it. It'll now be part of your self-concept. It'll now be part of what you think you're worth. So yeah, visualization is a great tool, right? So if we can start picturing ourselves, start seeing ourselves as already having it, seeing ourselves as already there, our concept of ourself starts to change because we start to see ourselves with it. And this is an amazing thing. It's great for your attraction, drawing things in, and that's why it's so important. So what I would recommend doing if you're doing this with dating, and I do this with people that I coach, either I do the Boulder process, which is really great. I did that on myself. At the time, I was dating someone who's making like 10 times more money than me, someone who's really successful and really beautiful, and I did not feel worth this person. And so what I did is I sort of mentally played this game with myself, and I was able to increase my self-worth to where I never felt insecure around that person again, right? And that's part of how I developed this really powerful, awesome tool called the Boulder process. And I do this with my clients. And what you do is you move the energy from this low, dense place and you transmute it. And then all of a sudden, and over the course of 20 minutes, we can take it from a deep, dark, powerless place into a blissful place. And then after doing this with myself, I never felt insecure with that person ever again. Never felt insecure ever again. And I was able to be much more present. I was able to be much more on fire, more exciting. And I wasn't worrying so much. And I can feel it too. If my self-worth doesn't match that person, I can feel myself, slipping into that insecurity in the past. I've had that experience. And then I know that if I stay there, like 30 days later, no matter how much this person cares about me now, I will push that person out of my life. The person will be pushed out. I will become boring. I will become not my full self. I'll be subconsciously doing things to push that person out. And we all do that. It's shocking. And yeah, So we'll move on to the next question to keep this going. If you guys watching this have any questions that you want answered, please feel free to go ahead and put that on there. All right, what are some of the rules of texting? This is a big topic, and I got to tell you, it's different for everybody. It's different for everybody. I think, and this goes back to the first date ideas as well. This is an important don't for first dates and an important don't for texting. Less is more. Better to be a little bit too little than a little bit too much. And texting is so easy to misinterpret. I would say one of the big tips I can give for texting is don't interpret it too much. Don't overthink what someone is thinking or not. If someone's not texting you that much for a little while, it may not be that big of a deal. It may not be. And it's really easy. I see a lot of people that I work with really overanalyzing things. That's one of the things that I notice. Every single person I've worked with and that has struggled with relationships, one of the things they always have in common is they have too much detail going on in their mind about what's happening. It's sending these huge it's so many details about what happened on the day, what they think and saw and experienced, and so many details. And I think letting it go a little bit and not judging or interpreting it too much too soon is important. Also, sometimes people are busy. If you're dating someone good, they're probably busy, and some people are bad at texting. Some people are not great at communicating. And also, texting can be so easily misinterpreted through the lens of your mood to an extreme degree, even more than usual. And so I would take it easy on that. Also, girls, don't be shy about texting first. Mostly for me, girls text me first. Don't be shy about texting first. Don't worry about it. I think people. It's interesting because it's because most of the people watching this are going to be women. You don't know how other women behave in a relationship because you haven't dated one, usually, right? Some people are bisexual, or and so they don't know how other women behave and how it is, and that leads to a lot of misconceptions. A lot. I remember a girl said, she said, "Oh, only guys plan dates." And for me, that was really interesting because, for me, it was almost completely skewed in the opposite, right? For me, the women I dated mostly really liked to plan the dates. That was fun for them. That's something that I like to do. And she said it was the guy's job to do this. And of course, this is someone who had a lot of struggles with dating as well. And I notice people who have a lot of rigid concepts about dating like that, like this is their job or that's their job, that's what they should do, really struggle with finding someone, and are not as open to taking advice and making movement forward. And so I think it's really important for us to be a little bit more flexible and relax a little bit and be a little bit open. And people have different reasons for things. Even me, I'm a dating coach and I'm bad about planning dates, right? Because I'm a bit of a homebody. I like to hang out at home. I like a lot of my adventure to be sort of solo, and then I like a lot of my relaxation time, to be with someone I care about. So I think we have to be, with texting, we want to. Here's another little tip too. If you send 4 messages, wait till you get another response. Right? You want to keep it relatively even. You don't want to go over, you don't want to be sending triple the amount of text they're sending. All right? You don't want to be oversending. You want to create some balance. You want to create a little intrigue. And also, it can feel a little bit like too much if you're constantly texting much more than they are. So that goes back to the concept, and I made a video about this. Give a little, get a little. Give a little, get a little. And I notice people who don't have high self-worth, they're always trying to give too much, and what happens is they overextend themselves. They don't allow the other person to give, which is part of their joy, and it's really to compensate. It's an attempt to compensate for their own self-worth and their own concept of themselves, right? They give too much, and it's people notice it, and it's not super attractive, right? And it's not for you either, right? It's not for you either. It's not for anyone, but it's easy to do. I've done it before. We've all done it, but it's something to be cognizant of. But that's the cool thing. When you change the self-worth, you not demand in a way where you're trying to cajole someone or do it through power. You demand it just by being you. Right? Do you know those people who everyone always just wants to give to? Those are people with high self-worth. People who other people could just kind of roll out the red carpet for, and it just feels natural that they are. And that really comes down to that self-worth. That really comes down to that self-worth. So in order to do that, we have to start changing that concept of ourselves. We have to see our texts, our messages, everything we say is valuable and important. And when we see it as valuable and important, the other people will too. And it changes the way we do things. All right. And again, feel free if you guys have any questions, go ahead and ask there. So, okay. How to believe in yourself and try not to doubt. Susan, thank you for this question. So believe in yourself it's a practice. It's a practice. I really like giving this analogy to help people really understand why we have to change the way we treat ourselves. And the doubt really comes from it comes from the way we've thought about ourselves. I mean, it always comes back to this stuff. It's a lot of circles. But okay, so let's take this analogy, right? Say we want to believe in ourselves, and it's something we haven't spent a lot of time doing. It's a new concept, right? So the first time we say, I can believe in myself, it's like this tiny little strand, right? This new belief, it's like this tiny little sinew, this little itty bitty thing where you could just blow on it. I like to give this analogy. I've done it several times before. You just blow on it, and poof, that concept, that little idea is so easily broken, so easily broken. But the second time we do it, okay, I believe in myself a little bit more, right? I'm worthy, right? Now it's two strands. You can still blow on it and snap it, but it takes a little bit more air, right? But then you do it again, okay? I'm worthy. I believe in myself. I feel good about myself. I'm powerful. You start thinking those thoughts, right? Another strand, another strand, another strand. They're like little synapses in your brain. And if we keep thinking those things over and over and over again, right? Soon we have a string which you can't blow on and break, right? So now we're in that situation again where we maybe would have felt doubt, but we blow on it, something light comes along, to thump on that, and it doesn't break. It stays strong, right? But someone, if something a little bit stronger comes along, flick it, snaps, right? We have to keep thinking it over and over, like through repetition, and that's what affirmations are. So it's something like affirmations are, or positive thinking about ourselves, the way our inner monologue works, that's what that is, right? So we're thinking, and so what we want to make it like yarn, right? So where we're on that date, and even if things aren't going so well, we're pretty strong. We're pretty strong, right? Because that yarn's pretty good, right? But every once in a while, something crazy will happen, right? Rip. And so instead, what we need to do, well, we need to keep doing it until it becomes like a metal cable. But instead, what we often do is we have these metal cables to our doubt, right? To where the slightest breeze will inflame our doubt or inflame that. And it's something we have to work on while we're not doubting. It's not work on in a negative way. It's something fun. It should be exciting to do, because all of a sudden, if you feel that thrill of that that well-being in you, you feel powerful, you feel worthy. You create that when you're neutral or when you're feeling good. That's when you want to do it. That's when you start creating yourself. When you're creating yourself, and that's what you're doing when you're adjusting your concepts of yourself. When you're creating yourself through your thought, and that's what we're doing, and that's the most powerful thing you can do, and that's the real thing that makes the biggest difference. When you're creating yourself, you always want to do it from a positive or a neutral place, right? If you say, I'm powerful, that's one string. I'm powerful. I'm powerful. And what I do with my clients is I do that, right? We work on this. All of a sudden, within 5-10 minutes, they feel powerful. Feel it. They feel it. If they keep that going, they will be powerful. They will be powerful. It will fully embody them. They will be powerful. And that's what you have to do. You have to keep that concept going. You have to keep it growing. And once the doubt is there, don't work on it. That's not the time, because now you're in a negative place and you're just going to twirl yourself up. You're going to add more strands when you try to work on it. When you're in doubt, it's not the time. Okay? You got to start creating it when you're in a neutral or positive place. Ideally, the better you feel, the more sort of clay-like, formable you become. And that's what we want you to do. We want you to be really formable. After meditation is so good. Meditation is a great tool to get rid of doubt as well. And you can't get rid of doubt. You have to replace it. You replace the doubt with confidence. You replace the doubt with positive expectation. You replace it, right? You transmute it. You give it something different, all right? Again, if you guys have questions, feel free to ask me. All right. Sex in your 40s. Well, sex in your 40s, I don't think is different than sex in any time in your life. I think we need to really embrace what our own natural desires are. I think we're really afraid of what our own desires are. We're afraid to share them. We're afraid to talk about them openly. We're afraid to ask for them. And instead, I think what we need to do is we need to realize that our desires are our own, and no one can tell us they're wrong or that we shouldn't have them. They're natural. And the more we embrace them, the more healthy they will be. And so when it comes to sexuality, I think what people need to do is be as flexible as they can. And it's